are.
Here we are. Let's do this. Welcome back to the Safety Meeting Podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Isaac Heckert. Today's very special guest, Erin Granat.
Oh.
Grenade. I did
Granat.
I did it again.
I like grenade.
Grenade. Erin Grenade is pretty good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it means that in Denmark. It means bomb.
Right. And then you guys,
granite. The like form of granada or something. It means like grenade bomb.
But then you, as a filmmaking team, you could be machete and grenade. No?
Yeah, but we're knife rock.
Oh, okay. You already got a thing. There you go.
She's machete knife, and I'm granite rock.
There you go.
Yeah.
Knife rock. Cool. We talked a little bit about the film on the last time you were here.
Yeah.
You wanna?
Where should I be looking right now? Should I look at you? Should I look
right in the lens? And if you want to justify yourself a little to frame left, I do a split screen. So I'm gonna.
I go this way or the other way?
Yeah. If you picture the camera as a square, and we're using the left side of the square. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So am I in the right place right now, or you want me like this?
The other side, if you don't mind.
This way.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I'm all about getting the right angle.
Yeah. Speaking of angles, do you want to talk about where you've been around the world for the last 6 months, 8 months?
I mean, to be honest, not really.
Okay.
It feels kind of like right now, considering the current situation, it feels ridiculous to think about everywhere I've been.
Right.
If that makes sense.
I totally get it.
I mean that not to sound not to be bitchy, but
no,
I think
doesn't sound bitchy. Not a lot of people want to talk about, because you and I both know a lot of exciting people, and we've both had quite a few adventures, and not a lot of people want to talk about what the exciting things that were happening before, because we're all stuck in our hammocks, socially isolated.
Yeah, right. I am in my hammock. I made this happen. But it's funny. I just think even with I've been having such layered like awareness of my privilege through this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like where I am in life as a privileged woman in the first world. This whole thing has just brought to light so many aspects where when I have a day where I'm like, oh, I wasn't focused today, or I get kind of like down on myself for like not making some cool quarantine content.
Right.
And then I'll just stop and be like, oh my God, just people are one step away from, or if not already, like this being like completely life ruining.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to, so now it's hard to articulate now that I'm actually trying to put it into words, but I've been going through a lot of that sort of self-talk.
Yeah, I think, I feel the same pressure to content create. That's easy for me to say. But there's so many people who weren't creating content before the quarantine are now participating in content creation that it's like, you know what? I'll let them carry the torch for a little while, and I'm going to regroup. Because it was on the fence about whether or not I was going to put the show on hold until we were done. And now that we don't know if we're ever going to be done, then this seems like the most logical choice. It just feels like 500,000 people are doing exactly what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. It's like all my feelings before about like I as a content or as like a storyteller and all the projects I already have going on, and always this feeling like, but I should have my other thing I do, my like Instagram thing. I need my other thing. And now it's interesting seeing the world, as you're saying, turning on to like the joy of being a creator. Mm-hmm. Maybe people that weren't before, but also I had my little ego spikes like, but I was going to do that.
Right.
Like completely, which is absurd. It's absurd.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for a new podcast or a new YouTube channel to come out that doesn't have anything to do with quarantine. Because it's hopefully it's such a temporary thing. And maybe when people get back to work, they won't have time to create. And it's not like if you make a podcast, it takes away from the number of people that are going to listen to my podcast. There's plenty for everybody. But I just look at it as like, it seems like every new podcast is called like Quarren something. So.
Right. And which is also like, when this is all over, are we just all want to be like done with this period?
Right.
And not be referencing it and talking about it, or
like the dark ages, like that's the time we don't speak of.
Yeah, right. But even all this is, if it just feels, I've just been having such strong feelings around even my existential crisis around my content creation in this time
Right.
of like true terror in like like what it means for people.
Right. And then you start to look at the meaning of the content versus the meaning of what's happening in the world. And you're like, is this really something I need to create right this second?
Yeah, 100%. And like I'm seeing posts of, well, they're like quarantine, but make it fashion, and like they're cute outfits. And a girl, I saw a picture of a girl that she taken a bunch of masks, like the medical masks, and made like a bikini and thong out of it, and like
that's horrible, dude.
But it wasn't even, and it wasn't even like a self-aware caption. It was literally like an Instagram model type girl, like, look at how sexy I am. And I was just like, this is everything that's wrong with people. Like, are they not reading all the problem, like the shortage of masks for people that need it? And like, it made me embarrassed to be like a human in that moment.
Especially with a mask shortage. That's what we're doing with the ones we have.
Yeah, exactly. With like 5 of them, so she could make her bikini.
Wow.
I don't know. And I get there's like laughing or making light of it's also how like a lot of people cope.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like there's kind of been a lack of sensitivity at the same time.
Yeah, I totally agree. Speaking of a lack of sensitivity, we were texting the other day about people that are blatantly going out during the quarantine.
Right.
And how there's this like urge to like screen cap their content and be like, what are you doing?
Right. Going out, you mean like dating or just going out in general?
Well, we did talk about that too. I want to hit that in a second.
Like, the screenshot shaming thing.
Have you pulled one of those yet? Have you called anybody out on non-social distancing?
No, I'm not one to, I don't really do that. I don't like participating in wars, like digital sparring matches, so to speak. No, but I have seen just different people I know that are just gallivanting. They're like, it's so great that there's no one out and about, there's no one on the roads, and they're just out gallivanting.
I have the whole town to myself. It's
like,
why do you think you have the town to yourself? Because you need to go back home.
Right. I haven't called anyone out, but it's an interesting movement I heard is happening, or I read is happening, like to do that, like screenshot and shame people that are like out not being a part of this whole shelter at home thing.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe I will if I get really annoyed by someone. But there's also at the same time, I've gone to the grocery store. I've gone out only for the necessary things, but it's happened.
Yeah.
So I get it.
What's your process when you go to the store? Do you get masked up and gloves and do the whole nine?
Well, that being said, I haven't been to the store for, I guess, like 2 weeks.
Wow.
Going on 2 weeks.
So you have all the toilet paper.
What?
So you have all the toilet paper.
Yeah. My housemate, he was on the awareness tip of the whole thing early in the game and stocked up on lots of stuff.
That's amazing.
I guess, but I mean, to this, still, I can't figure out why everyone rushed to get toilet paper. I still don't get that.
Like, what are you going to do with all the extra? I don't know.
Why was that the first instinct?
Why not food?
My mind was like, okay, I guess because they think they're going to get the sniffles, so we all need like enough Kleenex. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a surprisingly lower number than what we all assume. Like, because you see people with multiple shopping carts full of toilet paper. I think it's like 1 or 2 or 3% of the population just went and bought everything that we had, and the rest of us are just standing around like, dude, what's up? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But at my local Target, they're restocked, so I was able to get some. Yesterday.
The bodega on the corner has been a great resource.
Yeah, a lot of people are sleeping on that. Like, you could just go to your local corner store and they got everything you need. Except 7-Elevens, they don't have shit.
They don't have anything.
No.
I'm having an interesting experience trying to like speak and talk and look and video and see myself but see you.
Yeah.
And like want to frame it well because I'm a filmmaker, but also, oh, look, my finger. See, look, my finger's in the way.
I'm going to cut that side off anyway. It's fine.
Okay. So I just had to have a moment of that, like, this is weirder than I thought it would be.
Well, what I learned today was on FaceTime, you can't make yourself any bigger, but on Skype, you can make your little window bigger.
Yeah.
And I don't know about Zoom because I haven't tried that yet. I'm going to be trying a Zoom call right after this. So I'm going to hopefully by the end of the week know all about Skype, Zoom, FaceTime, Instagram Live, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
we're
All
trying
the
to
stuff.
set it up to be able to go live on all the platforms at once by hitting just a couple buttons, but apparently you need quite a bit of tech for that. So
Yeah, that sounds like very ambitious.
yeah, and who really cares? Like, you know, why can't you just shoot it live on one platform and then export it and post it to YouTube? So there's that as well.
And it's funny, ever since we talked about us doing this podcast, I've like thought of so many things like, oh, I can't wait to talk about this. Like I totally like, I'll bring this up to talk about, and now I feel like I'm just
Blanking.
like nothing's.
Yeah.
I also smoked weed earlier, so that's probably not helping.
Oh, cool. I should. Do I have any? I should smoke some.
I know I kept it. We could smoke together.
I don't have any in the studio here because I smoked on a couple episodes and those episodes were garbage. So
Yeah.
I took it all home and hid it for myself, and now I can't find it.
I do have tarot cards. I thought if you want, I could pull you a tarot card
You know what?
at some point.
I've never been read or had a reading. I'm not really into that whole thing, but I'm not opposed to doing one. I don't even know if one is a thing you can do.
Oh, I would just do one. I really only ever do one.
Yeah, let's do one.
You want to do one?
Yeah, you got them handy?
Yeah, they're right over here. This hammock situation, it's not really working out.
So how does it work? Is it a deck of like is it like normal cards? Are there 52 of them? Like how's that? I don't know anything about tarot cards.
It's not really a tarot card, anyways. It's actually a goddess card.
Oh, sick.
Is that flipped the wrong way?
It looks correct to me.
Oh.
But who knows what will happen when we export all this stuff? It might all
Who
be
knows?
backwards. Yeah.
So they're goddess guidance oracle cards.
Yeah. Is this going to help me find my goddess?
Are you looking for your goddess?
Yeah, I have a goddess deficit right now. I'm short one.
Down one goddess. Here.
Yes.
I'm making a new setup. Welcome to my yard, everyone, by the way.
That looks amazing. It looks huge, like a jungle. Do you have to water all that stuff, or is that just like the rain takes care of it?
The rain takes care of it.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was saying, like, I feel so fortunate for my scenario here. Like, here, I'll just show you a little bit of nature. It's nice.
Wow. I'm going to get quarantined with you
pond.
next time. A pond?
Yeah, we got a pond.
Do you have turtles and fishes and stuff?
With a mermaid.
So, guys, if you're just listening, we're on a FaceTime call here with Erin. She's in her backyard, and she's showing us on video all of the beautiful flora and fauna.
Yeah, does it work to do like I guess, yeah, people can't see it. And they can't. If they're just listening, they can't see it.
Vastly more people watch it.
Really?
Yeah. Like when I launched the video portion, my numbers for audio only went way down, and I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, oh, duh. If you watch it, you're not going to go back and re-listen to it.
Got it.
I held off on video for a very long time because I don't really consume podcasts on video. It seems weird to just watch two people talk, and I'd rather consume it in the car.
Yeah.
But people are loving it. And the channel's doing really well, and we're really fortunate. And podcasting is on the governor's list of essential businesses. So
of potential?
Essential. So
essential.
Yeah, we're like a news, like, you know, the news people can still go to work, so we can still come to the studio.
That's so interesting.
We're trying to set up a rotation where people are self-producing and they're only in the studio one at a time. We try and make 12 to 18 hours between people coming in and spreading germs and
all that stuff.
We disinfect everything and clean everything down, and everybody has their own mic. Nobody talks into anybody else's mic. So this is mine. Nobody else breathes.
Good job. Good job on your measures.
We're trying, you know. I think the governor's really led a good charge, and the numbers are showing that social distancing is working. You know, the rest of the states are like, what's going on? We're like, well, we're staying home, dude. As I touch my face and put Corona on.
Isn't it? It's so interesting, like all these things, these terms, this wasn't even part of our vernacular not long ago.
Right. Like, do you have any information, or do you know like who started the term social distancing? Has that always been a thing, or did we just create that this year?
I don't know. I remember seeing it pretty early in the game, and I was like thinking it meant something about like being isolated, like not understanding it was about this like pandemic that was started slowly sweeping the world.
Yeah.
and was like, oh, that's so sad. That's like the new term for when you're like too digitally obsessed or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I feel like it's probably, no, it's something actually that I think it's a term that they've used for this sort of situation before,
Yeah. Have
you
you
know, like SARS type things.
right. And it's weird because COVID is also another. It's another term. The beginning of COVID is another term for the annual flu, and they just put a different number on it every year. So
Wow.
something like that. I'm probably wrong. People at home are probably screaming at their TVs, but somebody posted a clip of a
Screaming at their
movie.
TVs, huh?
Yeah. Oh, people watch this on TV for sure. I have a YouTube app on my TV. You don't
Oh,
watch
cool.
TV though, do you? You don't even have a TV, right? Did I remember that
We
correctly?
have a TV we plug in to like watch movies.
That's so awesome.
I'm now going to take you to my office because my idea of just holding the phone this whole time is kind of backfiring.
Oh man, should I send you a tripod real quick?
I have one.
Oh.
We're just going to go. We're going on a little tour of my house. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Do we get to see the cat?
Yeah. So she's, she should be out here with me, but I think she wants to eat, but we'll go say hi to her. Where are you? How's your life at home in your quarantining?
I am doing my very best to just try and stay super busy.
Yeah.
As best I can. So it's either here or home. Either way, I'm on the computer trying to help one of my hosts. I have a host of a show. Her name's Misty Roberts, and she used to be in the touring world. She has been on tour with Metallica and Bruno Mars and Jonas Brothers and James Taylor and blah, blah. So she works in the touring business, and she was going to she has a couple of groups. One of them is like a women in touring Facebook group. So she's on the board of this conference that was going to happen next January called the Showmakers Symposium. And in light of COVID-19, oh, Kitty!
Yeah, I got it. Sorry.
That's amazing. What a
There
fluffy
she is.
cat. Hey, Kitty.
We've been doing a lot of this.
Oh, I bet. I would be too.
Okay, sorry. So continue.
So they pivoted. The conference is now pivoted. It's called the Showmaker Symposium, and now it's an online resource for people that do work in the touring profession as tour support to go and get resources, financial aid, mental health resources. They do an online webinar every Friday at 11. You can tune in and check out, and everybody gets together and kind of talks about the kind of state of affairs in the touring business. So I'm just doing my best to help her with her social media and coach her through. I'm doing editing for stuff that she's shooting. So I'm just trying to help out that way, and maybe somebody can gain something from some of those efforts. So
That's great. Good job.
doing my best. What are you? What are you into? You just must be cranking out volumes and volumes of writing and scripts and TV shows and.
See, I feel like they should be, but I'm not.
Is Moon Manor 3 written by now?
Well, there's been various things, various aspects. Sorry, we're my office now.
Awesome. It's got great light.
Yeah, that's why it makes more sense for me to be up here in general.
Yeah.
I think. We are working on getting to final cut on Moon Manor.
Yeah.
So that's been full on. And so, yeah, I've been pretty busy. For me, life hasn't really changed at all, hardly, because I always was working from home and just had stuff to do all day on my laptop.
Right.
So been working on that. And then just before all of this started, we meaning Machete and I got hired to work on a friend's screenplay on a TV show.
Oh, cool.
To write an episode of a show. So that's also been going on, which has been busy just to write, between those two projects, it's full on. I'm embarrassingly out of breath from walking up the stairs. There we go.
Have you seen that meme that's going around where it's two of the exact same pictures of an editor sitting at his desk, and it says an editor before Corona, and then it says an editor during Corona? He doesn't even realize, because editors just lock themselves in a room and just get to work, and they're like, "What day is it? I have no idea."
Yeah. It's exactly the same, except the one thing being I've always had this perverse idea that if ever I broke my leg or had something happen that I had to be home all the time, I'd really get so much done.
Mm-hmm.
I'd finally do that project, or I'd finally do this editing, do this thing. And like, it's interesting. This is one of those scenarios where you, as a creative, you just have to like, it's an opportunity to just work on your stuff.
Right.
But
Yeah.
like, now that that's actually upon us, like, do we? I think, I mean, a lot of people are, but I've been having a lot of mental fog, I feel.
Yeah.
It's like hard to get going.
It's been interesting in the comedy world too. So I've been speaking to a few comedians, and you can write all you want at home, but you don't know if it's funny unless you take it out in front of an audience. So this is the
Right.
longest stretch that most comedians have ever been without testing new material or going up on stage or performing on the weekends.
Right.
So when this is all over, it's essentially the great comedic reset. So everybody's going to have to start over and either lean on old stuff that they knew worked, or they're going to have to go out and try it all over again and get some new stuff working.
I think like, I mean, have you been feeling like the feels like I was saying about when I start thinking about stuff like that? Like, how will this benefit and not benefit like all my filmmaker creative friends? And then I just get into a thing of feeling, just being so aware of how privileged we are that that's what our concern is. Do you know what I mean?
Like
Do you have any feelings around that?
like a guilt trip kind of thing? Like
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm landing on your runway yet, but I'm close. I'm circling. I'm in the pattern.
I guess it's, well, okay, so to take it back, which I'm in the midst of, there we go, tripod.
Hey.
So now just, PSA everyone, if you are going to be on Isaac or any podcast, anything that's filmed, prepare a tripod be ahead of time.
Get yourself a tripod or lean your phone up against a wall.
I know, but then I don't know if I can do that with the earphones.
It's surprisingly much easier in landscape mode.
Okay. But if the earplugs are long enough.
Right.
Okay. Wait, sorry. This is the last little production shifting.
No, it's all good.
I think.
It's fascinating.
I'm going to try that. There. How's that? Is it too much lighting on me, though?
No, it's great. You got a nice outline on you. And by the time this episode is over, the sun's going to set right through your window.
Whew, that is so much better. Yeah. All right. So,
so you were saying that there's, I don't want to use the word guilt, but there's some kind of feels about the value or of the content that people feel like they should be creating at this time. Is that where you're driving to?
Yeah, I guess there's just I've been having a larger just awareness of my life in general and how lucky I am for just to be in like first world. So this is the first world problem sort of concept.
Right.
Which started from, so I was traveling in Asia in December and January. Mm-hmm. So that's been pretty crazy. I like got back just in time, so to speak.
Right.
And just that experience, it's kind of such a cliche, like American girl goes to Asia and comes back changed. But I felt very like that awareness of my house. Like I have just like this whole existential guilt thing about my life and the problems of my life. But I just like have somewhere to sleep at night, and I have food, and I have enough savings that I know I'll be okay for a little while should an emergency happen. And then this whole emergency is happening.
Yeah. That's inherently something that happens when you travel to a second or third world country. I don't want to say for the first time because I know you've traveled a lot. But it's definitely something that I had to go through some coaching on the first time I went to South America. And I had to get like debriefed on the way out. Like the team that I was with were like, you're going to feel like this when you get back. You're going to hate all the excess in your life. You're going to go through these 5 stages, and you're going to just go through like all of these things. You're going to hate all the excess. After being in a third world country for so long, I was there for, I think 4 or 5 years in a row. I was doing like 30 to 40 days a year in Peru, Ecuador, and South America. And we were, there's an organization down there called Inkalink, and they have like dumpster orphanages and not dumpster, where you take the dumpsters to, trash dumps, landfills.
Right.
So they would build orphanages and schools there, and like the poverty is just absolutely insane. So
what were you doing with them?
I was making fundraising films for them. So I
Cool.
was going down there documentary style, just kind of making some stuff, trying to get recruit because they have like an internship program. They have a gap year program if you want to cut out of high school before you go to college and just chill out in South America for a year, which is surprisingly cheap. It's like less than $10,000 for a whole year in South America, which is
Wow.
again such a first world thing to say. Oh, it's only $10,000, but
Okay, so that's what I mean.
yeah,
See that like that thing, that like awareness loop that you just had?
yes, yeah,
I've just been so deep in that awareness loop.
yeah.
I've been drowning in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
That's what
send
I'm
you
trying
some
to get
stuff.
at, and I haven't even been able to like articulate that started back where we say things, and that's the place we're coming from, because coming from that place isn't inherently wrong.
Right.
Like our Western first world, LA, like all the layers we want to call it, but just the difference between that's your reality when you're thinking about that opportunity versus the people. It's like the commodifying the people that live there
Hmm.
and their existence in a way. It's been deep.
Yeah, it's tough. It's there's so many angles that you can come at it from.
I'm just remembering this is a comedy podcast. I'm sorry.
It isn't. It's not. It's that, I've been trying to get sillier with it. So if you want a silly question, I could definitely throw you one.
No, I just like also feel like I haven't had anyone to talk to.
Oh, you can always call me. I'm always around. I'm literally in this room by myself all the time.
Yeah, I guess it's thank you, and I will. I will. I think I've been in this. It's just like a weird feeling to be having at this time in general.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everybody's going through essentially the same thing, but completely different.
Right.
Everybody's going through a different financial situation. Everybody's going through a different emotional situation. This affected them. A lot of people identify through their careers, and what does this mean when now all of a sudden they have to spend so much time with friends and family. Hopefully, not
Right.
too many friends, not too many family, but
Which is all like a positive thing. Like we say when it's something we're not doing, we talk about it and feel about it like it's this positive thing we should be doing more of
right,
in our life and the secrets to happiness. And the first world is being confronted with like actually being forced to do a lot of that stuff.
yeah,
Just be at home, just calm down. Like all these hashtags are suddenly like became real life.
yeah. And it's interesting because I'm on the single side of the fence, so I look at it like, oh, next quarantine, I'm definitely coupling up for that one. And then I hear like my married buddies and my buddies in couples are like, get me out of here. Me and my wife, me and my girlfriend, we're both working from home. All we are is around the same person. And I keep thinking like of the phrase, absence makes the heart grow fonder. It's just like if you're constantly trapped with somebody, how does that affect your relationship? And
Right.
are you all of a sudden like, I love you, but like, man, I need a break, you know?
Right.
And it's just
And we're
guessing from
used
this
to
side because
we're used to just even the feeling that you have the option to go elsewhere
right.
is removed.
Yeah. Or even if you had the option for you and your partner to leave the house together. Like this is a
Right.
whole new world. Like you and me or you and whoever, we're here. And we get to go to the grocery store and that's it. That's like a whole new it's gotta be raising anxiety levels and it's gotta, there's only so much Netflix you can watch. And
Right.
so many books you can read.
And also, and that you and I are like self-starter, entrepreneurial, creative
Oh, thanks.
types. Like that's how we've had to be, and that's what our whole like existence is built around. Like people that aren't, what are they? That sounds rude. Not like they aren't entrepreneurial, but just if you're used to going to an office and you have like a team that you work with,
Right. Some people's
what
lives
that
are
would
structured around
be
routine
like.
and they've built their lives into a routine because that's how their life is best suited. I like to go here. I like to be told that I need to get this amount of work done, and then I like to go home and do this. And structure is a big thing for a lot of people. So when you pull that structure out, like what happens then?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
one thing you and I were texting about the other day was like people still busting on the dating apps. Like
Yeah.
what's that? Like, how can you even think about? I guess people could do like a virtual date. I've heard of virtual dating. But I've also heard that people are like going on real dates. How crazy
Where
is
did they
that?
go?
I don't know. To each other's houses?
Oh. It's like let's start our relationship on in an even sketchier way, like
Right. Wouldn't one of the
violating like the international health code.
right. I mean, I can see it from both sides. You're either both the type of person that's like screw the rules, let's break the rules together, and we're rule breakers, or you should both be the type of people that are like, hey, let's follow this one rule so we can get it over with. And for me, if I found somebody that was like, hey, let's meet up tomorrow, I'd be like, deal breaker.
Right. Yeah, it is interesting. It's like this interesting first litmus test.
Right.
I haven't been on dating apps for a while, so it's almost worth getting on just to see what's going on there.
Yeah. It's the same cesspool that was on there before. So
I wonder if people, like, on their profiles, do you put some guidelines of like, I'm quarantined.
Right.
These are my quarantine measurements. Are you like only swipe left if you're on the same level of quarantine?
Right. Well, it's kind of harder to find who you're physically attracted to because now everybody has a profile picture with a mask on. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've seen quite a few. Not that I'm doing very much swiping, but every once in a while when Facebook and Instagram are boring, it's like, well, let's see what's out there.
And that's where people, it's so of the moment.
Yeah.
They're masking it.
Yeah. And then, of course, you swipe. The next picture, of course, doesn't have a mask. And you're like, whoa, put that mask back on.
It's such a weird, because it's also now, didn't they just officially extend it a full 30 days?
Yep. For us in California.
For us.
They've extended it into June for states. I think it's West Virginia, and it could be New York and D.C.
Till June?
June 10th.
What?
Yeah. So, wait, June? That doesn't sound right.
No, May, right?
No, it's June.
2 months, 2 full more months.
Yeah, because it's getting really crazy on the East Coast. Because all those kids went to spring break, and then they brought coronavirus back home to grandma and grandpa.
Oh, my gosh.
It's real bad in Louisiana, too, because Mardi Gras was right in the middle of the first wave.
Oh, my gosh.
It's I got a buddy from Louisiana. Shout out Jacoby. He was on episode 3. And he was just shouting on his Insta stories all day long, like, y'all need to go home, man. This is no joke. Y'all are going to get sick. 2 weeks later, he was like, I told y'all. And now it's like super bad in Louisiana.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Let's change the subject, though, because
I know. It's been this long, ongoing train wreck. I can't stop watching. I can't stop talking about it, but I don't want to. But I do want to because we have to. But okay, let's talk about something else.
Well, one last thing is I wonder how the news people feel because it's just 24/7 in their brains, and they have to regurgitate that to us. And the only thing that, like the sportscaster guy, he must have the best job in the world because he gets to keep his job, and there's no sports going on right now. So he's just like, oh, cool, I'm coming to work, but y'all can do the news. I'm good.
Yeah, that's a good point. No sports.
No sports. I think there's everybody quarantined. All the basketball dudes quarantined. So I think they're going to try and figure out a way to do like no audience sports. Like baseball has already said they're going to wait until the crowds come back because baseball is not baseball without the people there. But I mean, basketball is basketball, right? So I'm not a sports guy. Don't blow me up on the comments for this, please, guys.
I don't know. I think
we got to start developing new forms of entertainment where people are going to get antsy. So.
Well, and that's an interesting, even that in of itself, or is this an opportunity that we can all learn to chill out?
Right.
It's like putting it in the other direction. Like, because I feel like it's going to be so long. Like now we're talking about like 2 solid months of this, and then maybe longer.
Maybe.
Isn't it 21 days to make a new habit? So that's long enough that people like fully merge to and shift over. Right. This wasn't just like a 2-week thing. It will be an opportunity to fully become someone else if you want to.
Sorry, I had to.
Where did you go?
Go. My DSLR cuts off after 30 minutes, so I had to re-roll that. But the GoPro's still going, so we still got it. And hopefully this is still screen recording. Well, but we're getting great audio if it's not, so it's still going to be an amazing episode.
Yes, it is.
I appreciate you coming back for the second time. And we're more than halfway through. Can you believe that?
Okay.
Yeah, we got a tour of the backyard. Where's Kitty? Is Kitty around?
You know what? Kitty is crying, so I've been feeling really like I need to go. But I just got I have to go. Let me go see what's up.
Yeah.
I think she's just right there.
Okay. You going to take us with? Nope. All right. I'll sing a song. So for those of you at home just listening, Erin is checking on the cat. Which you could see on video if you went to YouTube and subscribed to the channel, you could watch this podcast instead of just listening to it.
Okay, that I
Hey,
think it's
Kitty's
she
back.
wants she wants to be fed, so we could feed her, but I know that that's not.
Dude, that's amazing television. Let's feed the
Is
cat.
that premium content?
That is premium content. Let's tell everybody what the cat's name is.
Fluff.
Fluff. Fluff. Fluff is a
Just
white,
Fluff.
long-haired cat. Is that long hair?
Yeah, I think she's like medium long hair.
Yeah, with accents near the above the eyes, before the ears,
Yeah.
like a panda cat, and a patch over the right eye. Oh, it looks like she's doing a selfie when she puts her hand on the phone. That's funny.
I know, she's so cute.
Awesome.
I'm so grateful to have a furry friend during this time.
Yeah, I have so often thought about acquiring a pet, and then it's like the phone rings, and it's like, "Do you want to go to London for 8 days?" I'm like, yes, yes, I do want to go to London for 8 days. I don't want to board my animal, so
Can I ask you about what was that deep decompression process coming back from South America? Like if you want to talk about it, and if we're
Yeah.
past talking about that, I'm just curious what those stages are.
I am gonna have to dig in my email for
Or yeah, I don't need
what
the
they are.
actual, maybe just the.
No, because it's like the 5 R's or something like that. You know what? I'm gonna try and see if I can find it, because I know
It's
who
just so
sent
it's
it.
so interesting that that's an actual thing, and of course there is a debriefing process. I've just never received it, and I guess I'll chat while you're looking for that. But I went to like 6 countries last year. So fortunate, so amazing. But then in this period to be able to just like to have to be just in one place, I'm having such a deep reintegration
Yeah,
from traveling so much, which I don't really ever do. And I went some places that really affected me, them being like Morocco. I got to go to Morocco. I went to Jordan, and going to Asia, especially Laos, just see such radically different ways of life that
yeah.
which it wasn't my first time seeing from different places I've traveled, also Central South America.
Yeah, because
But
you've always been kind of a traveler, right?
yeah, this has just been an interesting whole other level of it. Just what this whole thing is doing for people that were already not living much above like a basic survival mode.
Right. Sorry, I'm almost there. I almost got the steps. My search box is not working because I'm screen capturing right now. So I could probably find it on my phone. What I can do is not search for it now while we're live on the internet.
Yeah.
But I can send it to you when I find it.
Okay.
There is a book that I can recommend right now called When Helping Hurts. And it's meant to be read before your first engagement in a third world country, where you can kind of start sticking your big toe in the baby pool of like not bringing your first world into a third world situation. There's actions that you can do that you think would help someone, and all of a sudden a fight breaks out. Like
Oh, wow.
donating one soccer ball, or or like giving someone a brand new pair of shoes in a small town.
Right.
They're gonna, all those kids, all those people, all those adults, they're gonna fight over that brand new item, and it could cause
Right.
harm. So when you think that you're gifting something, you could actually be hurting someone. And
That's
the
so
book's
interesting.
it's just chock full of examples of things to just mentally prepare yourself for before you enter into a third world country.
Right.
So I'd recommend that. When Helping Hurts. I don't know the author, and I don't have a copy of it, or I'd hold it up right now. This episode's brought to you by a book I don't know about.
Yeah, I think it's I'm wondering and hoping if this whole thing is going to help a larger like world compassion to come forth.
Yeah.
People understanding, getting a sense of what other people, because this is the first thing that has been a collective worldwide thing that's happened with social media,
Right.
I don't know if that's relative to say, but I can't really think of anything that's of this magnitude that affects so many people in different countries.
Well, I wonder how many people are consuming content from outside of their own country.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like I don't in my feed, I see my friends. I follow people that I know. I mean, there's a couple of influencers or celebrities that I would follow, but I think those are predominantly American or European movie or actors or directors or whatnot. So my exposure to foreign content is very, very limited. So I wonder if there
Yeah.
are woke enough people that are like, I'm going to check in on Spain, see what's going on over there. Like, I don't even know if that's a thing. Can you just dial up like hashtag Spain and just see what's going on Instagram?
I don't know. I don't know. Good point. But I think it's like both to see what they're making, but also just reading because we're all reading about like keep tracking. Not we're not all actually. I shouldn't assume that, but keeping track of what's happening, how this is affecting other countries. Maybe it's like we can emerge out of it. And this is me being hopeful, but with just like a larger sensitivity, like we all are going through this, like almost the entire world,
Right.
as opposed to like us and them. Mm.
I was thinking about earlier, like I guess China's like flattening the curve or on their way out, or they're kind of claiming that they're in a world where it's going to solve shortly. So I wonder, like, the first country that's like, we're all good, like, I wonder what their dynamic is going to be. And I wonder if that sets the tone and the example for the rest of the countries. Like, is everybody just going to spring outside and be like, yeah, we can be outside now? Or is it business as usual? Or are the differences in cultures going to play a role in how people react? So,
Well, and they're also gonna. I would think that one of the first things is like if they are suddenly or they're not they're able to say okay we're good. They're gonna have to be on like lockdown of travel. No
right.
one could be in or out, right?
Right. I feel like I was just talking about that earlier today about, let's say, California, we're doing amazing here. I don't want to brag about it, but we stayed home. Anyway, that's Governor Newsom right there, dude. He is amazing, and I can't shout him out enough. But let's say California is the first one to be like, we're all clear. Do people from other states go, I got to get out, I'm going to California, and then bring it to our state?
Right.
That's an interesting thing to obsess about and
Right.
think about. I just
Yeah. No.
I need Vegas to get good again. I need them to open them
Yeah.
casinos up, and I need Palm Springs to be good again, and then I'll be all right. Not that I have a job that I could go spend money in Vegas or Palm Springs with, but I'm gonna get that stimulus check and go put it all on black, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not
Is
getting a
that?
stimulus check, but
Oh well. Maybe we could start like an underground, our own poker game. Is it poker you play?
no. Well,
Blackjack.
I used to play poker. It would be awesome to find an online poker game now, but it's a lot of 3-card poker, craps, and I'm pretty much like an 80-year-old lady on the inside. I like to play slots.
Yeah.
I just like to hit the little button and wait for nothing to happen. But one day,
Amazing.
apparently your odds are the same if you play a slot machine one time as if you play a slot machine 100 million times over 20 years. But I feel like
What?
in my
That's
head,
crazy.
if I expose myself to slot machines more, then my odds of winning $1 million go up. I feel like that's true. It's not mathematically, definitely not true. Maybe it is. Maybe I should get a mathematician on the show to tell me the odds of me actually winning.
Yeah. It's
But
just so interesting of like when are we going to be doing when will it feel normal to do things like go to the casino and just be around even I go on walks, I
right,
go on my runs and I see like a group of people. I'm like, should we
yeah. On
it's just
Sunday,
I do
driving.
at my run today I noticed so many more people wearing masks than I had before.
Well, we're restocking, so you'll notice that as the stocks of masks go back up, the policy and what we're told that we can and should do changes. So when there was a
Right.
shortage of masks, we were told that we didn't need to wear masks because those masks were being funneled to healthcare providers.
Wow.
And now, yeah, when other countries right off the bat were like, everybody needs a mask right off the bat, nobody goes without a mask. So yeah, I don't know. I have pretty strong feelings about the mask and gloves thing. Like if I'm in open air between the office and the car or the car and the house, it's gloves and mask all the time. I posted a picture of my I have a daily little masky thing. I ordered a ton of them online, just little windshield masky things. They're not medical grade or anything, but even if it's just placebo effect, it just makes me feel like I'm being a little
Right.
safer. And it's
Doing
something
something.
between my nose and mouth and you, where however
Right.
far away you are, like if you get a particle in the air, it's not airtight. It's definitely not going to keep a molecule from getting in my lungs, but it's going to keep a ball of snot out, I think.
Yeah,
I
right.
hope.
Right.
Who knows?
I actually know someone who went to get tested today.
Oh yeah.
that if they have it, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. Just there, he said there was no line to get there, like
Right.
waiting, and the whole thing took 5 minutes. And they shove a thing up your nose so they can get a sample from way back here.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I woke up with this like really weird, like someone punched me in the eye last night when I woke up this morning. It was just like big puffy ball under my eye. Wonder if I've contracted it from myself.
Yeah.
I did go to
You,
Target like 4 days ago.
you what?
I did go to Target like 4 days ago, but it was like full gloves and mask. I have the gloves somewhere.
It's been interesting, the public outings, just seeing like each incrementally how many more people are taking it seriously. Like each time I've been out,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just so weird. And
it's
look, we're still talking about it. We can't stop
we
talking
can't.
about it.
And the episode's almost over. It's gonna be a whole Corona episode. Let's talk about life before this because
Okay.
we can still remember good times. So before, not before this all hit. What's your favorite restaurant? Where do you like to eat in the world?
Okay. Yeah. Let me think about that. Life before 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's start with LA. What's your favorite restaurant in LA?
I live really near Revolucionario Tacos. Have
Okay.
you ever been
I
there?
have not.
It's North African tacos.
Wow.
It's yeah, so it's like Moroccan spices and tacos and burritos.
Okay.
Um, that saying that just made me realize I need to go get dinner there. I need to support them
Yeah.
because I love them, and that's the sort of place that would totally. I don't know how they're gonna get through this.
Yeah.
And I'm also very hungry, so
Sounds yummy enough
that's gonna
to
be what happens
sustain.
after this. Um, so yeah, that I love there. Revolutionario. What about you? What's your favorite?
Oh man, I wasn't prepared to also answer this question. I'm not much of a culinary genius. I really enjoy going and getting a big fat steak. So with my business partner, so Mastro's, the Palm. We have a favorite steakhouse in Vegas, SW, that's in the Wynn. I didn't grow up fancy or with means at all. So anytime I'm in a restaurant that's got like more than one fork, I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So big fan of steaks. Although I got to limit my red meat intake. I'm lowering my blood pressure as we speak. So
Mm,
I'm on.
you're such an adult.
I know. Well, I'm 40 now, so this is me doing 40.
Lowering the blood pressure.
Right? Doc says I thought I had high blood pressure from like a sleep problem that I was having last year, but he looked at because you fill out that survey when you go to a new doctor, and I put down like the actual amount of caffeine that I consumed, the actual amount of alcohol that I consumed, the cigarettes that I was smoking at the time, and he was like, "Dude, you know why you can't sleep?" He's like, "You're drinking a venti iced coffee every morning at 11 o'clock. That's 700 milligrams of caffeine. And then by the end of the day at 9, 10 o'clock when you're not tired, you're having alcohol to try and slow that down. So you're basically like uppering, downering yourself. And then
Right.
you don't get good sleep because of the caffeine and the alcohol. And then it was just like this tumble effect. So he took me
Oh,
off.
that's so real. That's so real. I resonate.
Yeah. So he was like, dude, you got to slowly wean off of caffeine or you're going to get headaches. And I was like, okay, so by slow down on caffeine, what do you mean? He's like, start drinking decaf because there's still 30 to 40 milligrams of caffeine in it. So next day I switched over to decaf. But I went into Starbucks and I'm like, I'll have a decaf, please. They're like, yeah, we don't make that anymore. I was like,
They don't even make
you
decaf
don't brew hot decaf. He's like, who comes to Starbucks for decaf? I was like, good.
for the flavor.
Yeah. I mean, even in Target the other day, of the hundreds and hundreds of bags of coffee on the shelf, there were like 2 bags of decaf. So
Yeah.
it's not terribly popular.
It reminds me of my grandpa. I feel like my grandpa was always like, I'll have a decaf.
Yeah. My grandpa drank
The
coffee
grandpa
from
thing.
the minute he woke up to the minute he went to bed.
He had decaf?
Just coffee, and I'm sure it was decaf, but I mean, just all day long, all coffee and a cigarette. Anytime you saw him out in the
Wow.
garden, just always had a thermos with him. So
Uncle Jimmy's like that, just always drinking coffee.
like regular.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so much caffeine.
So much, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you medically?
Um,
Do you have any ailments?
I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
I am allergic to something and I don't know what it is. That's a toughie.
Oh, yeah. Have you had an allergy screening testy thing?
I did, and it was like I'm allergic to dogs and like various ragweed pollen-y things that grow and like kind of very common stuff, and even the dog things like very mild.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like but that didn't I have a sense it's something I'm eating. There's something else going on
Mm-hmm.
because there's various symptoms that happen at different times, and it's been going on for like a while. So that's been interesting. That's sort of been like coming up in this whole thing. So I actually have the time that I'm like noticing and actually being aware of like, okay, that's happening again, where I'm getting like itchy above my eyes, and now I have it's itchy behind my neck. Like, could
Yeah.
it be the scarf? Could it be the face lotions? So, it's I don't know if it's that interesting, but that's what it
Yeah. A
is.
friend of mine, Alex Sivers, was telling me he had an allergy test. So they lay you down. Have you had an allergy test before?
Oh, like where they prick you
They put like 200 little needles
with
that have
all
a
of
little
them?
thing, something in it that you could be allergic to, and then they chart what they put where, and then you go back a week later and they see like what's basically not infected but like reacting in that little circle.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
I'd like to do that next. That will be the next level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that should be your first Tinder date back from Corona quarantine. You and your new man friend can just go get allergy tests.
Yeah.
Or woman friend. I don't know what you're into. I don't want to make any assumptions. You're a person.
Are you allergic to anything?
My mom told me when I was a kid that I was allergic to coconut and pineapple, neither of which are true.
Oh,
They may have been true
okay.
at the time, but somebody slipped me some pineapple one time, and I was like, what is this delicious substance? This is awesome. And nothing happened.
Oh, wow.
I don't like the taste of coconut, so I still avoid coconut. I don't like the texture. But yeah, I could very well be allergic
It's
to
kind of
all kinds of
slimy.
things, but I don't know.
It's interesting. That's actually a good tactic for parents to tell their kids, like, if there's just something like you're super allergic to ice cream or to,
The playground. You're allergic to
yeah.
playgrounds. Yeah. Um, that spawned a question that came and went just like that. The minute I thought of it, I just totally lost it. Did
Huh.
your parents tell you anything weird to get you to behave when you were a kid?
Um, Tell me anything weird? Nothing's coming to mind. I feel like was I well behaved? No, that's definitely not what it was.
Right.
No, but my dad used to tell me that I was born on a roller coaster in Mexico.
That's really funny. What's the point?
I know.
Like what?
I really thought that was true.
What's the end
So
game there though?
I
Like,
knew better.
what's that supposed to spawn in your mind? That like, what kind of behavior pattern are you supposed to develop from that?
Who knows? He's
Yeah.
just being funny, I guess.
Yeah. That's super funny. If I have kids, I'm
I
gonna
know.
tell them
Yeah.
that. I'm stealing it.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny. What a funny guy.
Yeah. Are they still around?
My dad?
Mom and dad?
My dad's in Woodland Hills.
Oh, cool.
Um, yeah, I saw him once recently. If I say anything else, we're going to verge back into talking about you know what, which we're not talking about
That's right.
anymore.
No more you know what's.
No more of the you know what, the C or the V. No more C, no more V.
That's right. Yes. That's cool. So right down the street, Woodland Hills. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We talked about this. You have siblings, right?
Yeah, I have a sister. I have two sisters. I have a half sister and a sister.
That's
Yeah.
right. We talked about all that. If you're
They grew up.
interested, it's episode 22. If you want the life story, we don't have to regurgitate it here. It's available for public consumption on episode 22, audio only, of the Safety Meeting podcast. I think we did pretty good on your origin story last September.
Yeah, we went deep on the origin story. That was really fun. I feel like I was like, it's interesting is observing how different I felt then versus this podcast. Just
Yeah.
overall vigor of life of, at that point you're just talking about like, well, this is who I am, and this is where I've been, and this is where I'm going, and I have this coming up and this. And now it's like,
Right.
I still have that. I still like could talk about all sorts of things that, but I don't know, it's even being like slightly self-promotional feels weird right now, I guess.
Right.
Also, well, we're not talking about it, that which we shall not talk about. Um, yeah, we have the movie coming up, and I've got like
Yeah.
excited about like a book project I'm working on and various other things. But like also to be honest, the thing I'm the most excited about right now is just like actually finishing deep cleaning my room.
Really?
Like,
Yeah. I have put all of the effort into the studio. I keep the studio completely spotless, but I have let my apartment get to the point where it looks like the FBI just kicked the door in,
oh my gosh.
and it's like definitely laundry day, and I really don't want to go down to like the laundry room in the apartment building and just use the one that everybody's using.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's true. That's
Yeah.
even just in and of itself an interesting
Right.
problem.
So it's either that or go to a public laundromat.
Not either a good idea
No
either.
way. So I think I'm going to drag all my stuff to my business partner's house at the beach when he's out and about, and just use his washer and dryer for a couple hours while he's running some errands,
That makes sense.
and not tell him, Jeremy, if you're
Yeah.
watching this, I'm stealing your washer and dryer.
I guess I kind of did the opposite. Like, I mean, I still have been doing the work that I need to do each day, keeping up with projects, but then I've put a lot of effort into like resetting my space and like cleaning. But it had not been done since 2018 because we
Wow.
shot the movie in
Yeah.
my house.
Oh, that's right. Since
Right. So
2018,
there's
so a
just like
year and a
ongoing
half.
piles, corners of stuff,
Right.
unaddressed stuff
Yeah.
from my entire house being a movie set for 3 weeks.
Right.
That now, and my room where I sleep was still part of the set until last October because we had to do pickups in this. My room was the main character's office,
Right.
which was described as him being like a borderline hoarder.
Yeah.
So there was just like wallpapered with like artifacts, things, this, that, like it was full blown. So it had taken us 3 weeks to create. So we didn't want to take it down
Right.
before we shot pickups.
So it stayed for a whole year. October to
2018,
October.
19, yeah, a full, a little over a year.
Yeah. Wow.
That it looked like that. So I am enjoying that process and also being procrastinating the like deeper creative or
Yeah.
quarantine productivity quarantine content I
Yeah.
could be doing by getting all my spaces clean.
Looking back at the process of making your first film, is there something that if you could call yourself 2 years ago and be like, whoa, dude, you gotta check this out. Like if there's something that you could teach your former self about making your first film, what do you think that would be?
Make sure you like writing emails.
Right?
Get ready to write so many emails.
It's always like it's those little tips and tricks from filmmakers that like kids just getting out of film school are like, tell me what's it like to make a film, and you're like, that it's something like that would come out and they would be like, what, like you don't have anything about cameras?
Years of emails.
Yeah.
It's depending on how long before, during, and after, and then like a thrilling, very, very small represented in the whole timeline of it that you're shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Like this little thrill of the shoot,
Mm-hmm.
and then years of
Prep and post.
Emails.
Yeah.
Emails, yeah.
You have 1,000-yard stare.
That's so unsexy, but it's just so true.
That's the truth that people need to get, though. You know, if they're like, because they make it so glamorous on television. Look at this film director. They wear a scarf and they sit in a chair and they
Right.
do directing
Well, and
stuff.
the point being of me saying that too, I guess, is like, I think the biggest thing would be, this is actually, I did, if I could call myself 2 years ago, 3 years ago when we started it, which I guess I did do that. I had the foresight to see that, but based on previous projects that I had not had this as part of the thought going into it, which is make sure your movie is about something you care about, you can sustain for as long as you're going to have to.
Right.
The subject matter, what you feel like you're saying to the world. If you're someone who that stuff's important to, that's very important to me. Like,
Right.
painfully so, you know.
It's one of the reasons why I decided to discontinue my directorial path, was because I just don't have like this passionate story that I want to get out. Like I don't have this thing that I need to tell people about. It's what I see in what most of my most successful directors is, that they just latch onto this story. They're like, I have to tell this story.
Right. That, and yeah, and just like that you can withstand all the emails and all the clerical administrative keeping enthusiasm for it years after you had that thrill of the shoot or the thrill of
Mm-hmm.
any of the parts that were like exciting. This is if you feel like you're really you know, and it's not that it has to be something deep and profound. If what you really want to make is like comedy,
Mm-hmm.
like a buddy comedy, is still something slapstick, but it just can still, because well, I mean, at the same, you won't be able to stomach it at certain points,
Right.
but then just something that I think it's just worth having that conversation with yourself.
Right.
Which I feel like luckily we did have that into consideration.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the cut, which I've, since we last spoke, I have intentionally not watched because you wanted me to wait for a screening.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Which is crazy because we saw you, we ran into you on the street.
Mm-hmm.
That no more running into people in the street, not gonna happen. The screenings that we imagined would be happening, not gonna be happening.
I wonder if, no, that wouldn't be smart. I was going to say, I wonder if you could do it virtually, but that opens itself up to a lot of problems.
We talked about that, but I don't think that's gonna work.
Nope.
I mean, we will send the link. We're gonna be sending the link, and like maybe we talked about doing at least like a virtual, like a group chat,
mm-hmm.
notes after Q&A thing. But even that, I don't know if I will probably just do it one-on-one.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Like where after this whole, the group, what's going to be the relevance of the group experience after all this?
Right. It's been fascinating to me, your and Machete's willingness to receive notes. Because
right.
Like you, I was like, you want to know what I think? I was like, I wouldn't even know where to start to tell another filmmaker. You know, like if you showed me your finished product, then I would go, hey, I really like what you did there. I especially like this part. I think this is really strong the way you told the story this way. I like what you did with the camera movement. But like an unfinished project, I feel like I would never, I don't want to say never. It would be very hard for me to go, man, I really see it differently. Do you have a shot where this happens? And then of course you either do or you don't.
Right.
And then if you don't have that in your coverage, then I feel like an asshole. Because it's like, well, what if you put a shot of this in here? Well, that shot doesn't exist. So
yeah, no, that's definitely,
that's first
super valid.
That was my first apprehension to watching the link when you sent it the first time, because I would not want to put you guys in a situation where you're like, well, we got to do reshoots again because we need a shot of this, and it's like, well, you know, it just seems like, it's just, I don't know, it's not. I will happily play a part in like watching it and giving notes if you want, but that was just my first aversion so early on in the editing process to give notes. I just didn't want to offend.
Yeah, well, that makes sense, but it's also, we are also after, you know, she's editing it, and and then I sit in and I watch cut after cut after cut, and then give notes, and then she'll make adjustments, and then we sit together, and then we go apart, and then, you know, she's definitely doing the lion's share of the work as the official editor. But we just can't, you get to a point where you just like, you cannot see it objectively anymore at all. So the idea being like getting those different eyes on it. But either way, I mean, like notes are always like a hard process, no matter where you are in it.
Yeah. And especially when you get further and further into the filmmaking process, like when you get into the studio bits and you're getting suit notes, and it's like, from, you know, Brian in accounting is like, can you make it more better? And you're like, thanks, Brian.
Can you add some explosions? You're like, no.
Yeah, just do the thing. You're like, come on. I think someone has set my car alarm off. Nope. Okay. Great. That's my soundproof studio, everybody.
I was just wondering, should I turn the light on? Am I too dark at this point?
You're not too dark because we're at the end of our hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we spent the golden hour together.
That's right. It was amazing. Thank you again for coming on the show. We can continue to chat. I'm just going to turn the cameras and stuff off if you feel like you want to sidebar about some stuff.
Let's sidebar.
Okay, cool. Will you give me a second to shut all this stuff down, and I'll call you back on my headset?
Yeah, so that's the end. That's it. We made it.
We did it. We did episode 48.
Thanks for listening and watching.
Yeah.
Anyone, if anyone did.
Everybody.
Everyone, anyone.
All the masses and masses of people that are now picking up and and subscribing on YouTube to the Safety Meeting Podcast. Erin, thanks a lot for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm going to call you on the phone here in just a second. We can chat about some stuff.
Okay, cool.
Tune in next week because we don't know who the guest is until I find somebody on Facebook and get them to do this. We appreciate you guys watching and listening, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
This show's a piece of shit.